Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Friday night with the Two Fellas Online Pub Quiz. This is Pub Quiz number 26. Yes, good evening everybody and welcome back. This is, as I said, number 26 of the online Two Fellas Pub Quizzes. That means we have now done half a year of Fridays worth of online pub quizzing. And tonight we have a spectacular for you. Spectacular because it's exactly the same format as every single week. This week, of course, we will have our easier round, followed by our theme round. Our theme this week is television. Then we have our music round and our harder round. Good evening to everybody popping into the chat to say hello. It's nice to see some familiar names, of course. Links are in the description below the video. If you're on mobile, you need to scroll a little bit further past the comments and then the description will pop up. If you're new to the pub quiz, welcome. How this pub quiz works is that team sizes are a maximum of 8. No cheating. That means no using Google or any other sort of technologies or search engines throughout this pub quiz. It's purely a test of your own knowledge. At the beginning of every round, you can go into the description below and click on the round link that will only open up before every round. If you try and go ahead, it will say this is not open. If you miss a question, you can always ask myself in the chat to repeat it. Or also, our bearded fella of this evening is Rob, and he can also repeat the question in the chat as well. Other information will shortly follow. Oh, yes, if you do miss a question, you can always scroll back on the little red line below your video, but always make sure at the end of it that you scroll all the way to the right to make sure you're caught up. At the end of every round, I will announce a time, and that time will be that when the round locks, you have to have your answer papers submitted by that time, otherwise they won't get marked. This is try and speed along the evening's proceedings. Overwhelmed with responsibility. Yes. Well, good luck, I guess. That's the only thing I can say. Just check how many people are in. All right, we will get going very, very shortly. We'll just give a chance for everybody to get their drinks as my dog comes in holding a plastic carrot. Hey, pop it. Hello. If you enjoy this pub quiz, you can always go through PayPal and donate to help keep the Two Fellas going during this COVID crisis. With the link donate@twofellas.beer. And if you're lucky enough to live in the area, the vicinity of the Two Fellas, you can also order food tonight and tomorrow night via going through twofellas.beer, where you'll find delicious beers and delicious pizzas. Deliciousness. Show the dog. No, the dog is currently staring into the nothing. She does a lot. You don't want to disrupt that. You don't know what she's doing beyond this world. She might be controlling the universe for all I know. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get on with the quiz. We'll start, as always, with our easier round, a collection of 10 easy-ish questions, depending on what your realm of knowledge is. Let's go. So round one, question one is, what are the names of Ned Flanders' children? What are the names of Ned Flanders' children? Flanders. Question one, what are the name of Ned Flanders' children? Dylan says the dog is the universe. Especially when she wakes up at 6:30 realizing she needs to have a shit on a bank holiday. So question one more time. What are the names of Ned Flanders' children? Remember, if you miss any of the questions, you can always slide back with that slider thingy. Question two. How many individual black and white squares are there on a chessboard? So how many individual black and white squares are there in total on a chessboard? So just the individual squares themselves. Question two, how many individual black and white squares are there on a chessboard? Add the number of black squares to the number of white squares and write down your answer in the form that's linked in the description below. So one more two, how many individual black and white squares are there on a chessboard is your question two. Let's get on now with question three, which is, by what collective name were Jason Lee Scott, Kimberly Hart, Zack Taylor, Trini Kwan, and Billy Cranston known? So together, how were Jason Lee Scott, Kimberly Hart, Zack Taylor, Trini Kwan, and Billy Cranston known? Very purple. So question three, one more time, is by what collective name were Jason Lee Scott, Kimberly Hart, Zack Taylor, Trini Kwan, and Billy Cranston known? On with question four. There have been movements this week on a sequel to which 1997 identity crisis film starring John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. So, which film have there been rumours or movements towards making a sequel of the original made in 1997 that starred John Travolta and Nicolas Cage? No? It's a great movie. So there have been movements this week on a sequel to which 1997 identity crisis film starring John Travolta and Nicolas Cage? That is your question 4. So one more time on 4, there have been movements this week on a sequel to which 1997 identity crisis film starring John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. That's your question 4. Let's get on. Question 5. Which is Shetland, Galician, Hokkaido, and Dartmoor are all types of what animal? Or all breeds of which animal? Shetland, Galician, Hokkaido, and Dartmoor are all breeds of what animal? Shetland, Galician, Hokkaido, and Dartmoor. No. Well, Anna, you better not get this question wrong. No pressure now. So question 5, one more time, is Shetland, Galician, Hokkaido, and Dartmoor all types of what? All breeds of what animal? On to question 6. On to 6, he says. Which band is famous for its 1971 album Aqualung? So which band is famous for its 1971 album Aqualung? Get out them flutes. Oh. God, if I was Dublin Zoo, I'd sue him. What does it say in the header? Need to send some gorillas after them. Guerrilla warfare. Dublin Zoo. They've got gorillas. They should send the gorillas after them. Cause gorillas. No, okay, moving on. All right. Question 6 one more time is which band is famous for its 1971 album Aqualung? All right, on to question 7. Who got into trouble with Nike this week for releasing so-called Satan shoes? Who got into trouble with Nike this week for releasing so-called Satan shoes? Yeah, with real blood. Don't think it is. I think wouldn't that be classified as a biohazard? And wouldn't it also just congeal and dry out anyway? So it wouldn't be like. Either way, it's weird. So question 7, who got into trouble this week with Nike for releasing so-called Satan shoes? Edgy, so edgy. And let's get on with question 8. Which is, which war, often seen as a precursor to World War II, ended on the 1st of April, 1939? So which war, often seen as a precursor to World War II, ended on the 1st of April, 1939? I failed to see the joke in your joke. Toto. So question 8, which war, often seen as a precursor to World War II, ended on the 1st of April, 1939? And question 9, how is Grogu better known? How is Grogu better known? So question 9 is how is Grogu better known? And finally, question 10 is, who painted this? Who painted this painting? I will make that bigger. So your final question of the round is, identify the artist of this painting. Actually, it's still there. Yeah. You can still go to that building on the left. So that's your question 10. You have until 2028 to get your answers in. You've got about 4 minutes to get your answers in. Make sure you click submit by 2028 or 28 minutes past the hour, wherever you are, unless you're in one of those weird time zones where you're half an hour ahead, which I think mainly exists in Russia or China. But yeah, 2028 CET time. So once those answers are in, at 2028 it will close, and then I'll pretty much straight away start reading out the answers, and we'll move on to our theme round. And as I said, our theme round this week is about television. Less than 2 minutes to get your answers in. Less than a minute to get your answers in. Hurry up and click submit before you miss out. Dogs. Hum, hum. Hey, Oldham Ruffyheads. Hey, welcome back. Is it social distancing outside to play pub quiz? That doesn't say. I admire and your commitment. Okay, let's lock the answers. If you haven't clicked submit now, too late. Unless you do it really, 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 really quickly. Answers are locked. All right, with that, let's get on with the actual answers. What did you know? Oh, okay, cool. All right. Round one, question one was, what was the name of Ned Flanders' children? They are Todd and Rod. How many individual black and white squares are there on a chessboard? There's 64 individual black and white squares, 8 by 8. Question 3 was, by what collective name were Jason Lee Scott, Kimberly Hart, Zack Taylor, Trini, Kwan, and Billy Cranston known? They were the Power Rangers. Yeah, from the original series and half of the second series. Because that's where I went on Wikipedia. One of them died in a car crash. Question 4. There have been movements this week on a sequel to Face Off. That is obviously going to go straight to DVD or a streaming service. I mean, John Travolta is still pumping out films, and yet you never... Yeah? And so is Nicolas Cage. John Travolta? Oh, Nicolas Cage. Shetland, Galician, Hokkaido, and Dartmoor are all breeds of ponies. I will only give you half a point if you put horse. Half a pony if you put horse. If you put Peter 32 and 32, that's fine. Because that does add up to 64. Which band is famous for its 1971 album Aqualung? It's Jethro Tull. Who got in trouble with Nike this week for releasing so-called Satan shoes? It was Lil Nas X. Yes, Evie, that's what I think to that as well. It's all noise. The war that ended on the 1st of April 1939 was the Spanish Civil War. Grogu is better known as Baby Yoda. And the painting is by John Constable. It's John Constable's Hey Wayne! And as you heard, the building still exists. You can go visit it. Somewhere in the south of England, you know, to look that pretty and flat. The painting. All right, round 2 is our... That says animation. It's not about animation. It's about television. There we go. That says it correctly now. The theme round is television. I just keep adding slides in. I keep forgetting to delete the old ones. Yeah, keep them on their toes. Right, round 2, question 1. Yoda is fine. I accept that. International people, what does BBC stand for? Germans, what does ARD stand for? So, what does the BBC, in terms of television, as in terms of the television channels in the UK and also with the World Service, what does BBC stand for? Germans, answer me this. What does ARD stand for? Rob has brought down the hammer of marking this week. So, international, what does BBC in regards to the UK National Broad Television Service stand for? And Germans answer, what does ARD stand for? They're the ones who take money. Yes. Even though. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if we lived in the UK, we'd have to pay for the license fee. Yeah, I'm saying that you would. We'd also. Yeah. That was on Channel 4. Yeah. All right. One more time. What does BBC stand for? And for the Germans, you can answer me, what does ARD stand for? Question 2. With over 22,200 episodes, which little dream bringer is the longest running television series in history? My hint here is think of Metallica. So with over 22,200 episodes, which little dream bringer, thanks Evie, is the longest running televised series in history in terms of number of episodes? Have you finished squeaking, Evie? You finished squeaking? Hey. Oh, God. Ah. Yeah. It always reminds me of Hugh, Gru, Barney McGrew, Cuspid Dick, whatever it is. The weird, I can't remember what it was called on UK TV in the morning. It was like the worst thing to watch as a child. Like, it was, if all the good cartoons weren't on, you watched that. I can't remember what it was called. All right. It's not Caddy chewing on some sort of squeaky toy. So, with over 22,200 episodes, which little dream bringer is the longest running televised series in terms of episodes in history? On to question 3. What are the horizontal and vertical counts of pixels in the 1080p mode of HDTV? Question 3. What are the horizontal and vertical counts of pixels in the 1080p mode of HDTV? She always picks a spot that's just a little bit too uncomfortable to like. Evie, up, up, come on up. Yeah, good girl, good girl. Just about in the frame, very briefly. Let's go on to question 4, which is what? Oh, I forgot about this part. What is this an advert for? So get ready. Here we go.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary
What is this an advert for?
Purification directives. We have created for the first time in all history a garden of pure ideology where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of any contradictory thoughts. Our unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people. One will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
So what was that an advert for? I'll give you a short while to discuss it amongst yourselves. It's one of the most famous advertisements. Quite clever. Squeak, 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 squeak. Up, up, up. There we go. See? Evie, bit too much. Let's go back to the toy. We're going to play bunky. So what was that an advertisement for? That was your question 4. On to question 5, which is, which country had the first public television station in the world and was on air from the 22nd of March 1935 until 1944? So which country had the first public television station in the world that was on air from the 22nd of March 1935 until 1944? Question 5. Which country had the first public television station in the world that was on air from the 22nd of March 1935 until 1944? Ugh. Ugh. All right, let's move on. Question 6, which is, in television technology, what does CRT stand for? In television technology, what does CRT stand for? Crit, yes. So it was the older technology that was used to display images in old televisions, the one that used to take up half of your living room, or the massive monitors that you had in the old school computers. Exactly, the ones that were wheeled into your classroom when your teacher was sick. It sounded, yeah. So in television technology, what does CRT stand for? Turn the radiator down, getting very hot. So question 6 one more time. In television technology, what does CRT stand for? On to question 7. After Charlie Sheen's very public breakdown and dismissal from Two and a Half Men, which English comedian limped briefly into being the highest paid television actor at the time? So after Charlie Sheen's very public breakdown and dismissal from Two and a Half Men, which English comedian limped briefly into being the highest paid television actor at the time? Should note that he made his start as a comedian, or that he was also a serious actor sometimes. I say that again. Even he's made his start and was possibly for a long time most famous as an English comedian. He's also a serious actor. After Charlie Sheen's very public breakdown and dismissal from Two and a Half Men, which English comedian limped briefly into being the highest paid television actor at the time? Are you just going to write your man? Is that your answer? Is your man? You leaving? All right, let's move on to question 8. Don't forget, if you miss any questions, write in the chat or scroll back. Which Scottish inventor is widely regarded, although debatable, to have given the first public demonstration of television on the 26th of January 1926? And it was, I believe, at Selfridges. So which Scottish inventor is widely regarded, although debatable, to have given the first public demonstration of television on the 26th of January 1926? I think he had his business in the Crystal Palace, which burnt down. The palace that was made of glass. So which Scottish inventor is widely regarded, although debatable, to have given the first public demonstration of television on the 26th of January 1926? So, which Scottish inventor is widely regarded to have given the first public demonstration of television on the 26th of January 1926? Was your question 8. On to 9. Which is, which famous comedian and actor, the star of 13 films with his siblings, once said, "I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into another room and read a book." So, which famous comedian and actor who was a star of 13 films with his siblings once said, "I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book." And let's get on with the final question of our theme round, which is, what is the name of the American rock band Television's first album, released in 1977? So what is the name of the American rock band Television's first album, released in 1977? Great album, very famous cover. No? Did somebody get it from your team? So question 10 is, what is the name of American rock band Television's first album that was released in 1977? You have 5 minutes to get your answers in, so have your answers in by 5 to the hour. I'm going to use this time to get some more wine. Our next round will be our music round. Normally, you have to get the original artist and song name, but this week we are going for film name. You're going to hear 10 songs from films, and I want you to tell me which films they are from. films. And there's an Evie hat. Okay, you've got about 2 minutes to get your answers in. 2 minutes to get your answers in. Sorry? No, not really. All right, less than a minute to get your answers in, so hurry up and click submit to make sure your answers are marked. Excuse me. All right, answers will now lock. So let's, with that, get on with the answers. Right, theme round answers are as follows. The BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation, and ARD stands for Arbeitsgemeinschaft der öffentlich-rechtlichen Rundfunkanstalten der Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Good job, they shortened that to the ARD. Question 2. With over 22,200 episodes, which Little Dreambringer is the longest running in terms of episodes television series in history. It's Sandmännchen, Sandman. Originally a West German creation that the East Germans then decided to copy and make, and then they both made at the same time, and now there's just one that's made. So there we go. I think so. Horizontal and vertical pixel counts of 1080p is 1920 by 1080. That's what 1080p television is. The advert that you saw was for Apple Macintosh. You get the full point for Apple Macintosh and half a point for Apple, because it specifically was for the release of the Macintosh. Which country had the first public television station in the world that was on air from the 22nd of March 1935 until 1944? It was Germany, with the Paul Nipkow station, named after one of the early inventors of a disc that created the silhouetted image. 6, in television technology, CRT stands for cathode ray tube, or Kathodenstrahlrohr. It's written there. It's very small for me to read. 7, after Charlie Sheen's very public breakdown and dismissal from 2.5 Men, which English comedian limped briefly into being the highest paid television actor of all time? It was Hugh Laurie for his role as House. It was only very briefly. Ashton Kutcher then got paid more for him for replacing Charlie Sheen in 2.5 Men. Which Scottish inventor is widely regarded to have given the first public demonstration of the television on the 26th of January 1926? It was John Logie Baird. Logie Baird would be fine. Yogi Bear would be partly fine. Which famous comedian and actor, the star of 13 films with siblings, once said, "I find television very educating. Every time that somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book." It was Groucho Marx. What is the name of American rock band Television's first album, released in 1977? It was Marquee Moon. Great album. So those are your answers to the theme round. Next up, you will hear the music round. With the music round, as with every week, you will hear all 10 songs through one playthrough first, and then you hear them all again. So if you miss out the first round, don't forget you will still get to hear them one more time. As well as you can always use a scroller to slide back and forth. The reason that it's Apple Macintosh is that this advertisement was specifically for the Macintosh, not for Apple as a company. That's why Apple is only half a point. What is this an advert for? It's an advertisement for the Macintosh that Apple was trying to sell through the advertisement. So, right, without further ado, you could open up round 3, the sheet, and if somebody could let me know that that sheet is working. It is a different sheet from previous weeks. So if somebody opens the sheet and let me know it's working, and then we'll get going. Sweet. Right, let's get going. Music round. I will see you in about 15 minutes.
I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching. If I only had a brain, I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain. With the thoughts I'd be thinking I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore.
I reflect on my reflection, and I ask myself the question, what's the right direction to go? I don't know. Am I a man, or am I a muppet? Am I a muppet? If I'm a muppet, well, I'm a very manly muppet. Very manly muppet. Am I a muppet? Muppet. Or am I a man? Am I a man? If I'm a man, that makes me a muppet of a man. A muppet of a man.
Where do we go from here? Certainties disappear. What do we do?
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love.
Life got you down, Mrs. Brown? Do things seem hard or tough? And people are stupid, obnoxious, or daft, and you think that you've had quite enough.
Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour, that's orbiting at 90 miles a second, so it's reckoned a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that you can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day, and in outer spiral orbit 40,000 miles an hour.
What do you see, you people gazing at me? You see a doll on a music box that's wound by a key. How can you tell? I'm under a spell. I'm waiting for love's first kiss. You cannot see how much I long to be free, turning around on a music box that's wound by a key. Yearning, yearning, while I'm turning around and around. Truly scrumptious, you're truly, truly scrumptious, scrumptious as a cherry peach parfait. There's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of a rolling wave can be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be.
B flats 2/2 time, modulate at the bridge. Haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the bang, meet the boom, meet the bing bang bing bang boom. Oh, haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the bang, meet the boom, meet the bing bang bing bang boom. Russian folk songs in French, ooh la la. Can't compare, it's the German Oopah singing. Haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the Zepp, meet the Zap, meet the Zing. Polish polka, is stupid unser Rot. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that shaggin', raggin', shovin', schützen, schmutzin', sauer, rotten. Keep change. Wir singen, haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the Zap, meet the Zap, meet the Zing. It's the only kind of music that we hounds and who hardest love to sing.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that brings the bare necessities of life.
And here we go one more time.
I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching. If I only had a brain, I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain. With the thoughts I'd be thinking, I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore.
I reflect on my reflection, and I ask myself the question, what's the right direction to go? I don't know. Am I a man or am I a muppet?
Am I a muppet?
If I'm a muppet, well, I'm a very manly muppet.
Very manly muppet.
Am I a muppet?
Muppet.
Or am I a man?
Am I a man?
If I'm a man, that makes me a muppet of a man.
A muppet of a
Where do we go from here? This isn't where we intended to be. We had it all. You believed in me. I believed in you. Certainties disappear. What do we do?
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love.
Life got you down, Mrs. Brown? Do things seem hard or tough? And people are stupid, obnoxious, or daft, and you think that you've had quite enough.
Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour. second, so it's reckoned a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that you can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day, and in outer spiral orbit 40,000 miles an hour.
What do you see, you people gazing at me? You see a doll on a music box that's wound by a key. How can you tell? I'm under a spell. I'm waiting for love's first kiss. You cannot see how much I long to be free, turning around on a music box that's wound by a key. Yearning, yearning, while I'm turning around and around. Truly scrumptious, you're truly, truly scrumptious, scrumptious as a cherry peach parfait. There's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of a rolling wave can be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be.
B flats 2/2 time, modulate at the bridge. Haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the bang, meet the boom, meet the bing bang bing bang boom. Oh, haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the bang, meet the boom, meet the bing bang bing bang boom. Russian folk songs in French, ooh la la. Can't compare, it's the German Oper singing. Haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the Zepp, meet the Zap, meet the Zing. Polish polkas is stupid und rot. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that shaggin', raggin', shovin', shootin', schmutzin', sour, rotten. Kid change. Wir singen, haben Sie gehört, das deutsche Band? Meet the Zap, meet the Zap, meet the Zing. It's the only kind of music that the hounds and who hunters love to sing.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that brings the bare necessities of life.
those are your 10 songs. I will give you 5 minutes to finalize your answers, so you have until 21:23 to get those answers in. I hope you enjoyed all of those songs. I thought there's some quite good covers in there. Yeah. Try and do something a little bit different for I think I've done music and films before. I probably have. As I've done 26 online pub quizzes. So I don't really remember what I've done. No. Yeah, memory is a little bit foggy. Yeah, so you've got around about 4 minutes, just less than 4 minutes to get your answers in. Make sure you get them in before 21:23 or 23 minutes past the hour, wherever you are, to make sure that they're marked and added to your tallies of your scores. And then we've only got the harder round to go, where we will see at the end of that who will reign supreme. South China Sea. Oh, what we've got now? We've got these are my dog's toys. They don't last very long. She is very playful, isn't she? Get it? Get it? All of it? Donate! I am not using the dog as a plug opportunity. I promise. Touch wood. Jesus Christ. Don't forget, if you want to help support the Two Fellas, you can go through PayPal and donate to help keep the Two Fellas going and this pub quiz going by using the address donate@twofellas.beer. All donations are very much welcome as I slowly get yanked away by the dog. You've got about 2 minutes to get your answers in. Less than 2 minutes to get your answers in for round 3. And then we'll move on with the answers for that and on to the final round of the quiz. Nope, just the movie title. You only need the movie title. So just the movie title. You've got less than a minute to click submit. So hurry up and click submit. Okay, so click submit now. Click submit now. We'll close the answers in a matter of seconds. All right, answers. Good. Answers are closed. So, what you heard was song 1, clip 1 was from The Wizard of Oz. It was If I Only Had a Brain. Number 2 was the Oscar award winning for Best Original Song because it won by default because nobody else submitted a song that year. But written by the guy, one of the guys from Brett from Flight of the Conchords. It was from the Muppets, Man or Muppet. Song 3, also an Oscar award winner, was from Vita. Song 4 was Singing in the Rain from Singing in the Rain. Remember, you only needed the film name. 5 was the Galaxy song, I think it's called, from Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. All about how the Earth revolves. So walk off the edge, flat earthers. Then we had Truly Scrumptious from the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang movie. Then it was The Lion King, followed by The Producers. Then, of course, The Jungle Book, and finally, the epic School of Rock. So those were your 10 songs. You can fight it out. All right, let's get on with round 3. Round 3, the hard round, is as it goes. Collectively, the likes of Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, and Tom Cruise were known as what? Collectively, the likes of Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, and Tom Cruise were known as what? No pressure, Marcus Cook. No pressure at all. Emilio Estevez came up like 2 weeks ago with the Question 1 is collectively the likes of Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, and Tom Cruise were known as what? Yeah, we won't mention Gulliver's Travels. I saw about 5 seconds of it. Or was it Nacho Libre that also bombed?
Oh god, yeah, he's like a wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh, that wouldn't be okay.
He's pretending to be Mexican, yeah. That won't fly today.
Just remember
School of Rock. School of Rock and Tenacious D. We'll forget everything else. And the Tenacious D movie, which was pretty...
I didn't see, I was too young to see it.
How was collectively Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, and Tom Cruise known? Amongst others. All right, question 2. How many squares are on a chessboard? I haven't already asked this. I asked how many individual black and white squares were there. Now I want you to tell me how many squares there are on a chessboard. So 2, how many squares are on a chessboard? So how many squares can you make on a chessboard? Remember, we found out in round 1 that there were 64 black and white squares in total on a chessboard. Now I want you to tell me how many squares are on a chessboard. Question 3. How is Lamo Thondup, who was born on the 6th of May 1935, better known since the 22nd of February 1940? So how is Lamo Thondup, who was born on the 6th of July 1935, better known since the 22nd of February 1940? No, the answer isn't Sean O'Donnelly. I'm sure. Question 3. How is Lamo Thondup, who was born on the 6th of July 1935, better known since the 22nd of February 1940? I think the dog has farted. Alright, moving on. Question 4. Taking its name from an inn in Greenwich Village, New York, what name is given to the 1969 riots that constitutes one of the most important events in the gay liberation movement? So, taking its name from an inn in Greenwich Village, New York, what name is given to the 1969 riots that constitutes one of the most important events in the gay liberation movement? Don't you? You're the one who farted. So question 4, taking its name from an inn in Greenwich Village, New York, what name is given to the 1969 riots that constitutes one of the most important events in the gay liberation movement? All right, let's move on. Question 5, which is, what is the interior angle of a dodecagon? So what is the interior angle of a dodecagon? So what is the interior angle of a dodecagon is your question 5. Let's find out. Zwölfeck in German, which is so much more just brutally logical.
Yes.
You don't have to figure out your Latin if you know German.
Yeah. Okay, it's the door's closing.
She wants to go outside onto the balcony. Alright, question 6. Born in Kumrovec in Croatia in 1892, how was Josip Broz better known? Born in Kumrovec in Croatia in 1892, how was Josip Broz better known? Yeah, I want to see the puppy. Evie.
Oh, such a good girl. Good girl. You look so happy about this.
Wait for it to destroy everything.
There we
Oh,
go.
there she's off. All right, let's get on to question 7. Travels with Charlie in Search of America is a 1962 book by which author who is more famous for his California novels that deal with fate and injustice? So, Travels with Charlie in Search of America is a 1962 book by which author who is more famous for his California novels that deal with fate and injustice?
You got your voice right, good.
So, Travels with Charlie in Search of America is a 1962 book by which author more famous for his California novels that deal with fate and injustice? Is your question 7. On to question 8. Which two empires held nominal sovereignty over the Septinsular Republic of the Ionian Islands that lasted from 1800 to 1807? So, which two empires held nominal sovereignty over the Septinsular Republic of the Ionian Islands that lasted from 1800 to 1807? Wasn't very long. So, which two empires held nominal sovereignty over the Septinsular Republic of the Ionian Islands that lasted from 1800 to 1807? Is your question 8. Question 9. Starring Al Johnson, Mae McAvoy, Werner Oland, and Josely Rosenblatt, what was the name of the first feature-length movie with synchronized music score and lip synchronous singing? So, starring Al Johnson, Mae McAvoy, Werner Oland, and Josely Rosenblatt, what was the name of the first feature-length movie with synchronized music score and lip synchronous singing? Synchronous singing. It's been made multiple times, but the original one I think came out in 1927. But it has been remade on numerous occasions. So what was the original movie with sound? Feature-length movie with sound. That's your question 9. Just one more question to go for the quiz. And finally, question 10, the last of the quiz, is who designed the typeface Sabon, created the visual identity of Penguin Books, and wrote the book Die neue Typografie, ein Handbuch für zeitgemäß Schaffende, or the New Typography in English, is its English title. So who designed the typeface Sabon, created the visual identity of the Penguin Books, and wrote the book Die neue Typografie, ein Handbuch für zeitgemäß Schaffende, or the New Typography is its English title. It's a staple of design theory. The man that I'm looking for the name of was born in Leipzig but spent most of his life living in Switzerland. So answer me this, that is your final question of the quiz. You've got until 10 to the hour to get your answers in. Less than 3 minutes to get your answers in. So hurry up and click submit. And then we can get to the marking and to the revealing of who is champion this week. Champion. Champion, like. All right, less than 2 minutes to get your answers in. Hurry up and click submit. Less than a minute. Hurry up and click submit now. All right, let's lock the answers and get on with revealing. So, hard round answers are as follows. Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, and Tom Cruise were collectively known as the Brat Pack, in reference, tribute, or whatever, to the Rat Pack of Frank Sinatra, Dean, whatever his name was, and the others. Dean Martin, that's it. And others. 2, how many squares are on a chessboard? There's 204 squares. 3, Lamo Thondup is better known as the Dalai Lama of Tenzin Gyatso. Taking its name from an inn in Greenwich Village, New York, what name is given to the 1969 riots that constitutes one of the most important events in the gay liberation movement? It's the Stonewall riots. Stonewall is your answer. What is the interior angle of a dodecagon or a zwölfeck? It's 150. That is the angle of a dodecagon. Born in Kumrovec in Croatia in 1892, Josip Broz was better known as Tito. As Marshal Tito, as Josip Broz Tito. This is nom de guerre. Travels with Charlie. Travels with Charlie in Search of America is a 1962 book by John Steinbeck. More famous for his books such as Of Mice and Men and The Grapes of Wrath. Which 2 empires held nominal sovereignty over the Septinsular Republic of the Ionian Islands that lasted from 1800 to 1807? That was Russia and Ottoman Empire. Nine, starring Al Johnson, May McAvoy, Werner Oland, and Yossi Rosenblatt. The film that was the first feature-length movie that had synchronized music with lip-synchronous singing was The Jazz Singer. And 10. And 10. If you've ever been a design student or study anything to do with graphic design, typography, and such, you should know this name. But the typeface Saban, who created the visual identity of Penguin Books and wrote the book Die Neue Typografie, ein Handbuch für Zeitgemäß Schaffende, or the new typography, was Jan Schishold. A weird one to say. Yeah. But all of the Penguin books that you have with the orange and such, all down to Jan Schishold. Very much in the vein of Peter Behrens and designing the AEG company. Logos, buildings, and such. So those are all of your questions. That means that is the end of the quiz in terms of the questions asked and answered. All we have to do now is have a little bit of patience as we go through and mark. I mean Rob, and tally up the scores. In the meantime, that will take us a couple of minutes just to do so. Rob is normally exceptionally quick, so I normally say it will take a couple of minutes and he'll normally instantaneously go, done. But give us a few minutes. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this pub quiz, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you are able to do so, if you'd like to, please visit PayPal and donate to the Two Fellas to make sure that they can keep open. And that means more quizzes, of course. Right, so give us a few minutes and I'll be back. So we had 34 teams play. just give us a couple more minutes. The scores are tallied up. So we're almost ready. Just give us 30 seconds just to double check everything. Okay, the scores are as follows. As I said, we had 34 teams playing, and they were playing for 24 places. In 24th place, we have Rewind Shauna Donnelly, please, who seemed to give up halfway through, with 11.5 points. 23rd place, Simple Minds on 13 points. In 22nd place, with 15 points, we've got That's the Way You Do. You Do It. In 21st place, we've got April Tools on 16 points. In 20th place with 17 points, we've got Butts. Ahead of them on 18.5 points is Hex and Hunter in 19th place. In 18th place, we've got the Jizzers on Air, and they have 20 points. Then in 17th place, we've got the Jimmy Buffett Fan Club on 20.5 points. And in 16th place, Schiedsrichter Mannschaftsauswahl with 21 points. In 15th place, we've got Two Feathers, One Pub on 21.5 points. And then in 14th place, we've got Lynn's Friends with 22.5 points. In 13th place, Erdo and the Jurgens with 23.5 points. And in 12th place, Not a Cat on 24 points. Then in 11th place, we have 4 teams with 24.5 points. They are Living La Vida Lockdown, Lacking La Beer, Oldham Ruffians, and Fart Garfunkel. In 10th place, 2 teams are fighting it out. They've both got 25.5 points, and they are Not Quite As Fancy Jams and Mousemax. In 9th place, we've got, with 27.5 points, 2 teams again, Survivors of Los Angeles and How I Met Your Pickle. In 8th place, standing alone on 28 points, we've got Balkan Connection. Then in 17th place, half a point ahead of them with 28.5 points, is Bacon Salad in 7th place. In 6th place, we've got King Sperm on 29 points. Before, on 30 points, again reaching 4 teams, we have, with 30 points, the Excelsiors, Rolo Compolo, Help Me Step Bro, I'm Stuck, and Hafer Schminkin and the So Top Soon. I run out of space to read that, I think. So on top, there we go. Then in 4th place with 31.5 points, 2 teams, Nebuchadnezzar and Don't Fucking Clap, which means we have in 3rd place on 32 points, Deduction Rotter, which means for the top 2 spots, we have 3 teams fighting it out. In 2nd place, it's Shut Up and Skive, which means this week we have a tie. Returning to the top spot for the first time in over a month, but sharing it, we have the House Martins, who share the win with 35.5 points with Pandemic at the Disco. So well done to House Martins and Pandemic at the Disco for a fantastic turnout. We really appreciate everybody who's turned up and played this evening for our online pub quiz number 26, half a year of online pub quizzing. If you've enjoyed this pub quiz, don't forget to hit the like button. And also, if you can, donate through PayPal with donate@twofellas.beer. So with that, I'd like to say from myself and the Two Fellas, a big thank you again for everybody for playing. And until next week, good night.